Hello, so we'd like to look at more matrices questions. So we're going to express this one in row echelon form. So here, first, this value is equal to 1, so that's what we like. Then maybe we can try to get rid of this 3 by multiplying the top one by -3 and then adding them in. If you were to multiply this on top one by 3, that would have been equal to -3, -6, and 3, and -9. So when you add up this line to here, then it would have been, I'm going to rewrite 1, 2, -1, and then 3. When I add them up, I'll be getting 0. And here we get 1. Here we get -2. And at the end we get 5. So that's good. Now, how about the last one? I'm just going to rewrite in the last one as they are. Now, second thing is, if I want to multiply this one by 2 and add on to the last row, then at least I get to get rid of this one. Then if I want to multiply the first row by 2, then we get 2, 4, -2, and 6. When I add up to the bottom one, keeping 1, 2, -1 and 3, and 0, 1, -2 and 5. So here we get 0, we get 3 by adding them up, -5, and then 8. Now, the next one is, if I were to get rid of, because I want to get rid of this one, and then maybe keeping this one by itself so that we could have identity kind of relationship going down this way. Then here we get, if I were to multiply the second row by -3, then we would have gotten 0, -3, and then 6, and -15. That's what we would have gotten. We're going to add this one to the last row. So 1, 2, -1 and 3, so 0, 1, -2 and 5. So if I have to add up 0, 0 is 0, -3 and 3 becomes 0, 6 plus -5 becomes 1, and the last one becomes -7. So that's how we can express it in row echelon form. So we have the ones are crossing this way. Alright, number 19. Once again, we have 1 here. So we can fix this one as they are. And let's multiply the first one by maybe -5 so that we can work with this. Then first one becomes -5, 5, 5, -5. So keeping the first row as it is, 1, -1, -1, and 1. When I add up this one to here, we get 0. And here I get 1. Here I get 6. Last one becomes 3. And then I'm going to rewrite down the last row as it is. Now, to get rid of 6, only thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the first one by 6 and then add them up. So first one by 6, then we get 6, -6, -6, and 6, and then 1, -1, -1 and 1, 0, 1, 6, and 3. So when I add up the third row and then 6 times of the first row, we get 0, 2, 12, and then 6. And then now what I can do is I can multiply this one by 2 and then subtract it with the last one. But if I multiply this one by 2, I'll be getting 2, 12, and 6, which is exactly the same as the last row. So when I subtract it, what it ends up become, being it's 1, -1, -1 and 1, 0, 1, 6, 3, then this becomes 0, 0, 0, 0. And that's basically what we end up getting. Alright, let's look at number 20. Here once again the 1 is fixed, so we're just going to keep the first row as it is. And then I'm going to multiply that by 3 and then add up to the second row. If I multiply that by 3, then I'll be getting 3, -9, 0, and -21. 1, -3, 0, -7 here. When I add them up, 0, I get 1, 1, 2. And the last one, I'm just going to keep it as it is. 4, negative 10, 2, and negative 24. And I'm going to multiply first row by negative 4. So that I'm going to add up with the last one. So then the first row would have been negative 4, 12, 0, and 28. Then I'll be keeping the first row as they are, 0 and negative 7, 0, 1, 1, 2. When I add them up, I get 0. And I get 2, and then 2, and here I get 4. Then just like earlier, second and third row is multiple of each other. So in fact, if I multiply the second row by negative 10, adding that to the last row, then it will be all become 0. So 1, negative 3, 0 and negative 7, 0, 1, 1, 2, and 0, 0, 0, 0. So that becomes our answer. Same idea as before, row echelon form. Here, first what I can do here is, top one is simply, I can divide it by 3, so I get 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 1, and negative 1, 0, and negative 4. 2, 4, negative 2. Here, then when I add up the first row with the second row, then I'll be getting 1, 1, 1, and this becomes 0, this becomes 1, and the last one becomes negative 3. 2, 4, negative 2. Now, then here, now what we can do is, I can multiply the first one by negative 2 and add up to this one. Then it becomes 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, negative 3. Multiply this one by negative 2, then it becomes 0. And 4 minus negative 2 becomes 2. And then negative 2 minus negative 2 becomes negative 4. But I can divide the last one by 2, so I get 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, negative 3, and then we get 0, 1, negative 2. And then if I were to subtract second one from the third one, so this one minus this one, then finally what I'll be getting is 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, negative 3, and I'll be getting 0, 0, 1. And that's basically how we can get it. How about the second one here? Since 1 is kept, so that's good, we're just going to multiply that by 5 and then subtract it from here. Then I'll be getting 1, 3, 2. Multiply this one by negative 5 becomes negative 5, negative 15, and then negative 10. And then when I add them up with this one, then I'll be getting 0, 0, and negative 1, and 2, 6, 10. Now what I can do is I can switch these two rows, keeping this one into positive by multiplying by negative 1. I'll be getting 1, 3, 2, and then 2, 6, 10, and 0, 0, 1. And I'm going to multiply the first one by 2, and then divide by first one by negative 2, and then add up the second one. Then I'll be getting 1, 3, 2, 0, 0. Because I'm multiplying by negative 10 and adding up to here, 0 and then 0. Here we get 6 and 0, 0, 1. Then in fact these last two rows are multiples of each other. So what I can do is, if I multiply this one by divide it by 6, then I'll be getting 1, 3, 2. I get 0, 0, 1 and 0, 0, 1. So second one minus third one, we get 1, 3, 2, 0, 0, 1, and 0, 0, 0. And that's how we can get it. Here, next one is, we want to use the, notice that first one is already 1. Alright, then we're going to keep it as it is. 1, 2, 3, and -5. But now what I'm going to do is first row minus the second row. Then I'll be getting 0, 0, and this one becomes 1. And then this one becomes -4. So 0, 0, 1, and then -4. And later on, because I have 1 here, I'm going to bring that to the third row over here. -2, -4, -4, and 3, 4, 8, 11, -14. So I'm going to switch the second and third row just to get the one other thing, actually, so the older ratio is 1 to 2, you will realize that all these values will be cancelled out. So what if I multiply this one by 2 and then add them up with this one? Then 1, 2, 3, -5, 0, 0, 1, -4. When I multiply this one by 2 and then adding up with the third row, then I'll be getting 0, 0, 2, and then -10. -10 plus 3 becomes, obviously, -7. Now, next one is what? 4, 8, 11, -14. What I can do is now, I can double this one. I can multiply the second row by -1, -2, and add up to this one. Then I'll be getting 1, 2, 3, -5, 0, 0, 1, -4, and then 0, 0, 0, because 2 minus 2 becomes 0, and then -7 plus 8 becomes 1 here. And 4, 8, 11, -14. Now, what I can do is I can multiply this one by 4 and then subtract it from here. Or I can multiply this one by 4 and then subtract it from here. Then I'll be getting 1, 2, 3, -5, 0, 0, 1, -4, 0, 0, 0, 1. And then, so this would be -4, so it becomes 0. This would be -8, becomes 0. Multiplying this one by negative, so 4 becomes -1. Well, I can just do this one minus this one, so 4 minus 4 becomes 0, 8 minus 8 becomes 0, 12 minus 11 becomes 1, and then here when I multiply this one by 4, then I'll be getting -20 plus 16 will get me 6. And then when I subtract this one minus this one, 1, 2, 3, -5, 0, 0, 1, -4, 0, 0, 0, 1. And when I subtract this one minus this one, then 1, 1 cancels out. I'm going to have 0, 0, 0. 6 minus -4 becomes 10. Then, here once again you can see that this one is this one can be divided by 10. Then I'll be getting 1, 2, 3, -5, 0, 0, 1, -4, 0, 0, 0, 1. Even the last one will be 0, 0, 0, 1 because I'm dividing this one by 10. Then lastly, this one minus this one will get me 1, 2, 3, negative 5, 0, 0, 1, negative 4, 0, 0, 0, 1, and then last one is 0, 0, 0, 0. Alright. How about this one? So this one is already 1, so we're going to keep that as it is. 1, negative 3, negative 1, 8. So when I add them up, then it becomes actually 0 here. So 0, and then 5, 0 and 4, and negative 2, and 10. Then when I do this one minus this one, I get 1, negative 3, and 1, 0 and 1, and 0 and 4, and negative 2, and then 10. So I'm going to multiply this one by negative 4, and then adding on to this one, then I'll get 1 and negative 3, 0 and 1, and 0 and 0, negative 2 and 10. So I can double this one, add on to this one, which will get me 1, negative 3, 0, 1, and 0, 0. Then this proportion becomes 0, and then we'll get 0 and 4. Once again, I can multiply the second row by negative 4 and add up to the last one. And I get 1, negative 3, 0, 1, and then 0, 0, and 0, 0. That's how we can get it. Alright, so write the system of linear equations. So then if the first row represents x and the second row represents y, then this one would have been 4x plus 3y equals 8, while x minus 2y is equal to 3. That can be expressed as this matrices. How about here? We get 9x minus 4y is equal to 0. And here 6x plus y is equal to negative 4. Once again, number 27 is x plus 2y, not y, z, because third one x, y, z, so 2z is equal to negative 10. Second row can be 3y minus z is equal to 5. And then the last row is 4x plus 2y is equal to 3. That's how we can express it. How about here? X, y, z, w, if I were to use that variables, then we have 5x plus 8y plus 2z is equal to negative 1. And second row will be negative 2x plus 15y plus 5z and plus w is equal to 9. Last one is simply x plus 6y minus 7z is equal to negative 3. That's how we can write it. Alright, so write the system of linear equation here. Then use the find the solution. So here we get x minus 2y is equal to 4, and here y equals negative 3. And since y equals negative 3, then plugging into here, we get to realize that this one is equal to x minus 2 times negative 3 equals 4. Then here we get x will be equal to negative 2. So those are how we can get it. This case we have x plus 5y is equal to 0. And here, while y is equal to negative 1, then when you substitute it here, we get x plus 5 times negative 1 is equal to 0. Then x equals, in fact, 5 at the end. Same thing here, we have x minus y plus 2z is equal to 4. And here, y minus z is equal to 2, while z is equal to negative 2. That means when you plug in negative 2 for z, we get y minus negative 2 will be equal to 2. Then you get to realize that y is equal to 0. By plugging these two values in, we'll be getting x minus 0 plus 2 times negative 2. is equal to 4. Then here we get x will be equal to 8. That's how we can do it. How about this one, number 32? So x plus 2y, so I'm going to just write it up here and then move it down. X plus 2y minus 2z is equal to negative 1, and then y plus z is equal to 9, and z is equal to negative 3. So then here, what we end up getting is, by plugging in negative 3 in place of z, so we get y minus y plus negative 3 would have been equal to 9. That means y is equal to 12. Then putting these two values into the first equation, then we get x plus 2 times 12 minus 2 times negative 3 is equal to negative 1. Once you calculate this one, this is 24, and then this one is positive 6, so we get x plus 30 is equal to negative 1, then x equals negative 31. That's how we can solve it. And then write a solution represented by, so this one is, the first variable is x, so this in this case is x equals 7. That's what it's saying here, y is equal to negative 5. First row is the first column is x, so we get x equals negative 2. Second column is the y, so we get y equals 4. That's basically what we are talking about here. Here we get x equals negative 4. Y, the second column is y, so equals negative 8. Z is equal to 2. Here, x equals 3. Y equals negative 1, because second column is y equals negative 1. Z, third column, is simply is equal to 0. Now, number 37, if you had to express this one to the matrices, it will be 1, 2, and 7, 2, 1, and 8. Then one thing which we could have done was, since this one is 1 already, I can multiply the first one by negative 2 and add on to the bottom one. Then here we get 1, 2, 7. Then multiply this one by negative 2, then this becomes 0. So here multiply this one by negative 2, then negative 4, adding 1, so we get negative 3. Multiplying this one by negative 2, which is negative 14, adding on to this one, we'll get negative 6. And we can multiply that second one by negative 1. I mean, you can multiply the second row by the negative 1/3. Then we get 1, 2, 7, 0, 1, 2. So I can subtract the second row now from the first row. Then we get 1, 0, 5, and then 0, 1, 2. This means x equals 5 and y equals 2. Oh, my bad here. We made a silly mistake, because we multiplied this one by negative 2, and I forgot about that portion. So then instead of getting 5, we would have gotten 3, because 7 minus 4 becomes 3. So x equals 3 and y equals 2. Then once you realize that works, how about here? We get 2x, 2, and 6, and 16, and 2, 3, and 7. So I can multiply the first row by 1/2. Then I'll be getting 1, 3, 8, and 2, 3, 7. I can subtract, I can multiply this one by negative 2, and then add on to here, then we'll get 1, 3, 8. Multiply this one by negative 2, add up to be 0. Multiply this one by negative 2, and then add on to this one to be negative 3. Multiply this one by negative 2, and add on to this one will be negative 9. And then multiply the bottom one by negative 1/3. We get 1, 3, 8. We get 0, 1, 3. I can multiply the second row by negative 3 and add on to the first one. Then I still get 1 and 0 because 3 minus 3 becomes 0, and 8 minus 9 becomes negative 1. And 0, 1, 3. This means x equals negative 1 while y equals 3. You see, when you plug in these two values in here, then you will realize that they will make sense. Number 39. Same idea here. Let's look at that. Since we have x, y, and that's it, so we end up getting negative 3, 5, negative 22. Here 3, 4, 4, 4, 8, 32. First, I realized that I can add the first one and then the last one. Then we're going to get 1. So here we get negative 3, 5, and negative 22. Here I'll be getting 1 and 13, and then 10. 1, 3, 4, 4. So since this one has 1 in the front, I'm going to switch the first row and then third row. And I'll be getting 1, 13, 10, 3, 4, 4, and negative 3, 5, and negative 22. Now what I'm going to do is, keeping the first row as it is, 1, 13, 10, I'm going to multiply this one by negative 3 and then add on to the second row. Then I'll be getting 0. Negative 3, that means negative 39, adding on to this one would have been negative 35. Negative 3, then we get negative 30, and adding onto this one we get negative 26. So and then we end up getting the last row is negative 3, 5, negative 22. So first I'm going to multiply this one by 3 and add on to this one. Then I'll be getting 1, 13, 10, and 0, negative 35, negative 26. Here then we're going to be getting 0, and I'm going to multiply this one by 3 and then adding on to this one, then we get 41, and then I'm multiplying this one, 30, and then adding on to this one, we'll be getting 8. Then in this case there's contradiction because these two are not multiples of each other, so therefore there will be no solution. Here, let's look into this one. We have 1, 2, 0, 1, 1, 6, 3, negative 2, and then 8. First, this one is already 1. We're going to keep it as it is. We're just going to get rid of this one. So what I'm going to do is this one minus this one. Then that will get us 1, 2, 0. And here we get 0, negative 1, and 6. And 3, negative 2, and 8. Then this becomes 1, 2, 0, once again, 0, 1, negative 6. Then we get 1 and 1. And here we have 3, negative 2, and 8. Then here I'm going to multiply this one by negative 3. And I'll add on to this one, so we get 1 to 0, 0, 1, negative 6. Then we get 0. And multiply this one by 3, a negative 3, and then adding on to this one. So negative 3 times 2 becomes negative 6. Here we get negative 8. And then is equal to 0. Now, then here once again, you will realize that here y is supposed to be equal to negative 6, but here y is equal to 0. Y cannot be two numbers at the same time. So therefore there is no solution once again, since we see the contradiction. Alright, and we'll stop here. I'll see you later.